Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the new chapter in geography. The name of the chapter is Rock and Rock Types. So we will see to the introduction first. Now we have seen last year that the earth's crust is very hard. It is made up of rocks and soil. Rocks are found on land surface and below it. Now rocks are a mixture of different minerals formed by natural processes in the lithosphere. The properties of rocks depend on the constituents, minerals and their proportion, as well as on the formation processes. So all these rocks have a natural processes. Silica, aluminium, magnesium and iron are the major rock forming minerals. All these things are the major formation are in the major formation of rocks. There are other minerals too in different rocks. Now these were only 4 which are named, but there are other minerals also. Next we will see the types of rocks. Now there are 3 types of rocks according to their formation processes. They are igneous rocks or called as primary rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. Now one by one we will see what are the rocks. The first is the igneous rocks. Now when the molten material known as magma, when the material melts known as magma within the crust and lava on the surface cools down, it solidifies. It solidifies means it gets formed and give rise to the rocks. Now these are known as igneous rocks. Okay, when this happens, when the lava within the earth crust starts cooling down and it solidifies, when it solidifies it becomes into a rock. These are known as igneous rocks. As these rocks are formed out of the material from the interior of the earth, we get these rocks from the interior of the earth. These are also referred to as primary rocks. That means igneous rocks are also called as primary rocks. Mostly these rocks appear hard and homogeneous. That means these igneous rocks are very hard and homogeneous. These are heavy as well. We do not get fossils in these rocks. We do not get the buried remains of deads or plants on these rocks. The Maharashtra plateau and the Sahyadris are formed out of igneous rocks. That means the example they have given is the Maharashtra plateau and the Sahyadris are formed out of igneous rocks or primary rocks. And basalt is also a major example of igneous rock. Next we'll move to the sedimentary rocks. Now due to continuous variation in the temperature, that means the temperature doesn't remain the same, it keeps on changing. Rocks develop cracks. That means there are cracks in the rock because of the change in temperature. Similarly, the water percolating through rocks dissolves the soluble minerals. Now when there are cracks in the rocks, the water will enter into it. This leads to the weathering of rocks. Weathering of rocks means the rocks get separated. They start getting cracked, and when they get cracked, they start getting separating. They get disintegrated or decomposed. They get separated. That is why they get reduced to pieces. Mostly the sedimentary rocks get disintegrated. They get separated into pieces. These rock particles get transported by rivers, glaciers, winds, etc. That means these particles of rocks, when they are flowing towards the river, they get separated. Okay. One after the other, layers of sediments get deposited in this way. The upper layers exert heavy pressure on the lower layers. This leads to compaction of materials and development of sedimentary rocks. One can easily see layers in the sedimentary rocks. Now, one thing you'll see in sedimentary rocks, you'll see that there are certain layers on these rocks. While layers are getting deposited, the remains of dead animals or plants get buried in these layers at times. So the dead animals of plants, and we've seen that the rock gets separated. So there are decomposition of dead animals and plants also on it. Therefore, one may find fossils in the sedimentary rock. What are fossils? Fossils we'll learn in the next slide. Okay. Sedimentary rocks are generally brittle and lightweight. Now we've seen in the igneous rocks they're very hard, but sedimentary rock on the other hand is very brittle. Okay. They break fast, and we've seen they break fast, they form layers, and there are fossil remains also on them. Most of them are porous. Porous means there are holes in it. Because they break, they crack, they are porous. There are holes also in the sedimentary rocks. Now, what are the examples of sedimentary rocks? Sandstone, limestone, shale, corals, etc. are sedimentary rock. One may find coal seams in sedimentary rocks. So, sedimentary rocks are very light in weight and they break faster. Next, we'll see what are fossils. Now, fossils are the buried remains of dead animals or plants become subject to heavy pressure and they get inserted on the rock. As a result, their impression gets marked in the rock. Now, we can see the picture over there. When the remains of dead plants and animals get, their impressions get on the rock. At times, the buried animals or plants get petrified. They are called fossils. Their impression remains on the rock, so they are called as fossils. Next, we'll see the last, that is the metamorphic rock. Volcanic activity and other earth movements constantly takes place on the earth. So all these things go on happening on the earth. While these are occurring, the igneous or sedimentary rock in that region are subjected to tremendous heat and pressure. So we've seen as the temperature increases or decreases, it has the pressure on the rocks. That way the rock starts getting cracked. This leads to changes in the nature as well as the chemical composition of the original rocks. The crystals in the original rocks get recrystallized. They form a new rock. So they get recrystallized. This means the rock get metamorphized. Metamorphized means they change. They break and they get recrystallized, or metamorphized means they change. The rocks formed through such a process are called metamorphic rocks. These rocks do not contain fossils. Now we've seen in the previous rocks, that was the sedimentary rocks, they contain fossils, but the metamorphic rock does not contain fossil. These rocks are heavy and hard. Okay, the metamorphic rocks are always heavy and hard. Next, we will see this table that is given below and try to understand the metamorphosis. Now, there are 5 columns: type of rock, original rock, the photograph of that rock, how the rock is metamorphized, and after getting metamorphized, how is the picture. So, first is the igneous, that is the original rock is the granite. That is the picture of granite, and when it's metamorphized, it is formed into nesses. Okay, and you can see that's the picture. Then the next is again igneous. The rock which is the original rock is basalt, and when it gets metamorphized, it is amphibolite. Okay, and that's the picture of that rock when it changes, when it gets metamorphized. Then the next is sedimentary, that is limestone. That's the original picture of limestone, and when it is metamorphized, it turns into marble. Okay. Then the next is again sedimentary. The original rock is coal, and when the coal is metamorphized, it turns into a diamond. Then the next is again sedimentary. The original rock is sandstone. That's the photo of sandstone, and when it is metamorphized, it turns into a quartzite. Then the next and the last is a sedimentary. The original rock is shale, and that's the photograph of a shale rock, and when it gets metamorphized, it becomes a slate. Okay. Next, we'll see that is figure 7.5 shows the distribution of major rocks in Maharashtra. So now where are these rocks, different types of rocks found in Maharashtra? List the districts in Maharashtra where rocks other than basalt are found. The basalt rock formed out of volcanic eruption has spread over a large region of our state. Now when you look at the picture, this picture is also there in your textbook. So you can see it in your textbook also. The basalt rock is in the major part of Maharashtra, which you can see the grey portion. Okay, that has spread over a vast region of the state of Maharashtra. Then the next is granite rock is found in the eastern parts and in the south Konkan. A little darker grey, that is the granite rock, which is found in the south Konkan. Then the next is laterite. Laterite is found in the south Konkan. Okay, the down portion. Okay, that is the orange portion, that is the laterite rock. Now because of thick and extensive layers of basalt, Maharashtra does not have large reserves of mineral wealth. Therefore, mining activity is concentrated in South Konkan and in Eastern Maharashtra. So these were all the places in Maharashtra where these different types of rocks are found. Now your homework is the first. Due to continuous variations in the dash, rocks develop cracks. Next, as dash is relatively soft, it is easy to carve on it. And the last is water fossils. That's all. We end with the chapter over here. We will continue the next chapter in the next video. Thank you for listening, children. Goodbye. Take care.